the rich get richer, their mansions are getting bigger and bigger today. We'll take a look at a home worth over $2 billion. We'll look at an estate the size of a small country. Here are the top 10 largest mansions in the world. Number 10. Casa Encantada. Casa Encantada, Bel Air, California was put on the market in October of 2019 for $225 million, which at the time made it the most expensive property for sale on the U.S. amid interest from billionaires like Jeff Bezos. But what makes this mansion so special? It was built in the 1930s for the widow of a glass bottle manufacturer, and no expense was spared in making this a luxurious Georgian-inspired property built in an H shape. It has 60 rooms that offer a variety of views across the surrounding landscape, a reception hall with 18-foot ceilings, a dining room, card road, indoor bar, and several living rooms. As you'd expect from a Bel Air mansion, it also has a pool house with another bar, and a private screening room and a tennis court, basketball court, rose garden, greenhouse and koi ponds. The property, which was once owned by Conrad Hilton, has more than $35 million worth of internal furnishings, 8 acres of land, and every time it's been sold in the past has set the record for the costliest mansion in the U.S., something that seems fitting for the richest man in the world. Number 9. Fairfield Pond. The Hamptons on Long Island are renowned as the playground of the rich and famous. But while the area is full of lavish mansions that most of us would only dream of being able to afford, there's one property that stands out above the rest: Fairfield Pond. Built at a cost of $110 million in 1990. It's owned by a controversial billionaire I rendered, and it's thought to be worth upwards of $500 million today, except within 63 acres of valuable Hamptons beachfront land. The 62,000 square foot mansion covers more than an acre and a half of floor space inside it, as well as the giant main house. There's also a playhouse and not one but 2 pool houses, which has a further 40,000 square feet of interior space. But that's just the beginning of the extravagance on show here. There's an estimated 21 bedrooms and 18 bathrooms, 12 chimneys that would suggest there are 12, large fireplaces, and a 91-foot-long dining room that has a basketball court, 2 bowling alleys, a billiards room, 2 tennis courts, and a squash court, as well as a 164-seat screening room, a garage that can fit, well, 100 cars, and a $150,000 hot tub. The home is so valuable that Runner's annual tax bill for this property alone is estimated at around $650,000. Number 8. Gemini. Now upon to the south of Palm Beach, Florida is one of the most expensive and largest mega mansions in America, called Gemini. It was put on the market in 2017 for an eye-watering $195 million, and even though it failed to sell, that doesn't make it any less than impressive. The family that currently owns it bought the 62,000 square foot property in the 1980s, and I've since completely rebuilt the main house and added a botanical garden that contains more than 1,500 different species of plants and trees. For times when the 21 bedrooms aren't enough, Gemini also comes with a 7-bedroom guest house, 2 cottages, and an apartment block for staff, all of which are accessible via a ground tunnel to the other side of the island set across 68 of land. There's a putting grant, a large pool, a giant children's tree house, a dock for a boat, a basketball court, and plenty more. Inside there's several dining and lounge rooms, immediate roll-3 libraries, offices, a large number of terraces, 2 elevators, and a huge wine cellar. The island is on benefits from its own microclimate that sees much warmer temperatures than the surrounding areas, making Gemini a truly tropical mansion within the border of the U. Number 7. The Pritzker Estate. Built between 2005 and 2011 for billionaire Anthony Pritzker, the Pritzker Estate at 1261 Angelo Drive in LA is one of the largest private residences in the city. Pritzker is one of the heirs to the Hyatt Hotel empire. Because of the construction of his new home didn't exactly go down well with his neighbors, it's often referred to as the Grand Hyatt Bel Air. The main structure covers an area of 49,000 square feet, but there's also a large guest house, a pool house, and a residence. The staff that work on the property. There are 2 basement levels to the house that contains a game room, bowling alley, and entertainment for air, with a ball and offices, while on the levels above ground, there's a library, a gym, a spa, a beauty salon, a kitchen that's larger than you'll find in most restaurants, and a giant swimming pool. There's also a tennis court and 2 parking garages, one that says 60-car parking lot on one side of the property, another that's more secretive, and it's underground. The entire property is heated and cooled by geothermal systems, and with climate control. Countless solar panels and energy-efficient lighting. Number 6. Modern Versailles. It can take a long time to build a mega mansion, and owners will often have to wait several years until our new home is ready to move into. Perhaps the most delayed project of all is known as Modern Versailles, and despite getting more than 15 years ago, it's still yet to be completed. This is partly because following the recession in 2008, the owners found themselves low funds to continue with it, and also because it's proved to be so complicated to construct. Based upon the Palace of Versailles in France, but being built in Windermere, Florida, it will eventually become the home of the Siegel family, who made their fortune selling timeshares. The first step was to create a man-made hill on 10 acres of lakefront land, and then the foundations were laid for what will be an 85,000 square foot mansion. There will be 11 kitchens, 14 bedrooms, 3 indoor pools, 2 outdoor pools, a video arcade, and a ballroom, and the capacity for up to 1,000 guests. There will also be a 2-story movie theater, a huge tropical fish aquarium, 2 tennis courts, a huge garden, and even an elevator that leads from the master bedroom to the closet, with everything based on the design of the actual Versailles Palace. The materials used to build a mansion don't come cheap. The wood, for example, is some of the last legal Brazilian mahogany that cost $4 million, and an astonishing amount of marble had to be imported to win finished. It'll be one of the biggest and most valuable mansions in America, but even in its unfinished state, it dwarfs virtually every other property. Number 5. Mesa Vista Ranch. Pickens was an oil magnate who chaired a hedge fund that aggressively took over and raided companies in the 1980s and made huge amounts of money in the process. Of all things, he used his wealth to buy his real pride and joy. Was the Mesa Vista Ranch, which is within a 100-square-mile piece of land in Texas. The main building itself spans more than 30,000 square feet, has carved wood paneling throughout, a dining room that seats 40 people, and a 30-seat home theater. There's an adjoining popcorn room. The walls are covered in expensive art, and there are countless chandeliers hanging from the ceilings, and there's guest quarters, VIP suites, a British-style pub, and a health fitness center. Elsewhere, there's an 11,000 square foot lake house that's surrounded by water that's provided by an aqueduct. And Boone was such a fan of hunting that there's a 2-story kennel where the 40 hunting dogs are kept. While you might expect to see many of the amenities at the ranch at other mansions too, there's one thing that you'd be hard-pressed to find anywhere else: its own airport. The 6,000-foot runway and small terminal building mean that residents and guests can fly in and out whenever they need. And there are fire trucks on hand in case there's a problem, and a fleet of vehicles to drive people to the main part of the ranch and back again. Another surprising structure on the ranch is a small white framed house, and this was Boone's childhood home. His fourth wife bought it at a disassembled and rebuilt on the ranch as a gift to him, something that he said gave him peace and tranquility in his hectic life. Number 4. The Bubble Palace. There are definitely some gasoline mansions in the world where owners have gone a little too far in the design. But there's no denying that building a multi-million-dollar home certainly gives you the opportunity to experiment with artistic styles without a doubt. The most unusual mansion in the world, however, is the Bubble Palace near Cannes in France, and it was built between 1975 and 1989 before being bought by the fashion designer Pierre Cardin, covering an area of around 13,000 square feet. There are 10 bedrooms, or reception hall, and a panoramic lounge, all of which are decorated with works by renowned artists and are in an unmistakable bubble shade. Elsewhere on the site, there's a series of swimming pools and waterfalls, a 500-seat theater that looks out across the Mediterranean Sea that doubles as a helipad, and plenty more. It's the most surprising and garish mansion on Earth, looking more at home on an alien planet, but it's so unique that it has an equally astonishing price tag somewhere in the region of $400 to $500 million. Number 3. 288 Rutland Gate. While it's relatively easy to build a large mansion in the countryside where there's lots of land is fair, it's a far more difficult prospect to acquire a gigantic home in the center of a city, particularly one that's historic and highly sought after, which is something that makes London's 288 Rutland Gate all the more impressive. The mansion, which was bought by a Chinese businessman at the beginning of 2020 for more than $262 million, overlooks Hyde Park in central London, and is by far the most expensive house to have sold in the country. Built on prime real estate, it was once 4 separate homes before all combined, and the resulting mansion is simply unbelievable. Covering 62,000 square feet, the 7-story home has 45 rooms, including several grand state rooms, 20 bedrooms, a basement swimming pool, a health spa and gym, an underground parking garage, a separate wing for staff, and several elevators for guests to access the higher floors. The interior was conceived by French designer Alberto Pinto and includes ornate chandeliers, jewel-encrusted bed days, and even 24-karat gold-plated waste bins. There's more floor space in the mansion than the surface of a football pitch. And if property prices in the city keep going in the same direction as consume, become one of the most valuable private houses in the world. Number 2. The 2013 former movie producer, now only AMI, has been working on a new project that, if all goes right, will set the record for the most expensive home to have ever been sold in the U.S., known as The One. It's on a prime piece of land in Bel Air, California, and is as futuristic as any mansion you'll ever see, with a floor space of just over 100,000 square feet. The One has 20 bedrooms, 30 bathrooms, 5 swimming pools, a parking garage for 30 cars, a bowling alley, and the obligatory wine cellar that can hold more than 10,000 bottles. There's also a 36-seat movie theater, 2 grand dining rooms, a fully fitted restaurant, quality kitchen, and most surprisingly of all, its very own nightclub. Some of the walls inside are made from jellyfish tanks. It has its very own moat, and the neighbors just down the street include Jennifer Aniston and Elon Musk. There's also a large casino in the property, and a minimalist design throughout with marble walls and see-through glass panels. If you stand on the roof, you'll be treated to views out across the Pacific Ocean, the LA skyline, and the tiny mansions that everyone else lives in nearby, and you can't help but look at the One and feel like it resembles a spacecraft that's perched on top of one of California's hilltops. Having to take out a loan of more than $80 million to build it, Yami is hoping that it will prove to be relatively easy to sell once it's completed. But with an asking price of $500 million, there aren't very many people who can actually afford it. Number 1. Antilia. Well, not technically a mansion in the traditional sense. Antilia is the largest and most expensive private residential property in the world. It's in Mumbai, India, and is owned by billionaire businessman Mukesh Ambani and his family. Even though it looks out across some of the poorest suburbs anywhere on earth, it stands as a monumental wealth and access. The house is 27 stories tall, has more than 400,000 square feet of space inside. There's a car garage with space for 168 vehicles, an ADC theater, a spa, a temple, 3 helipads on the roof, and several terraced gardens. Each floor has extra high ceiling. In fact, they are the same height as the stories of a normal building and have been specifically designed to withstand earthquakes that measure up to magnitude of 8. The top 6 floors are a completely private full-floor residential area, or the ones lower down are where guests stay and even have their own ice cream parlor. The car garage has actually spread out over the first 6 floors, and to take care of them, the 7th floor has a dedicated car service station. And there's also a snow room where the walls release snowflakes to help keep people cool in the hot Indian summer. Unsurprisingly, the construction of this skyscraper mansion was controversial, and there were a series of lawsuits to try to prevent from happening. It was finally completed in 2011, though currently has an estimated value of just over $2 billion, which makes it the most valuable privately owned property in the world. Watch our playlist if you'd like to watch all of our most popular top 10 videos. Grab a drink, grab a snack, and get ready to binge.